María Corina Machado, winner of the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize. Breaking the myth that authoritarian power cannot be broken. The 2025 Nobel Peace Prize is widely seen as a landmark moment in today's international politics and global democratic movements. The Norwegian Nobel Committee awarded the prize to Venezuelan opposition leader and democracy activist María Corina Machado, in recognition of her tireless efforts to defend the democratic rights of the Venezuelan people and to promote a peaceful transition from authoritarian rule to democracy. This decision is not only about honoring one individual. It also reflects a deeper conflict in today's world between democratic values and systems built on repression and control. Machado was born in 1967 and grew up in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. She did not enter public life as a politician from the beginning. In her early years, her work focused more on engineering, finance, and social causes. In the early 1990s, she founded the Etnia Foundation, which worked to improve the lives of street children in Caracas. During this period, her attention slowly shifted from helping individuals to questioning the system itself. She began to see that many social problems were not accidents, but the result of political structures. In 2002, Machado became one of the co-founders of the civil group Sumate, an organization dedicated to promoting free and fair elections through monitoring and civic education. This step marked her entry into the core of Venezuela's democratic movement. In 2010, she was elected to the National Assembly with strong public support and quickly became one of the most influential figures in the opposition. As Venezuela's political environment grew tighter, her path became much more difficult. In 2014, the Maduro government removed her from the National Assembly for political reasons and gradually stripped her of the right to hold office, pushing her out of the formal political system. This was not a one-time punishment. It was a long-term and systematic effort, not meant to turn her into a martyr, but to make her slowly disappear from political life. In the years that followed, Machado chose a path that was the most dangerous for the regime and the least safe for herself, insisting on legal and institutional legitimacy. She refused violence and rejected underground action. Instead, she continued to stress elections, civil rights, and the legitimacy of political rules. This position made her a top target for the authorities. In 2023, she announced her candidacy for the 2024 presidential election and won overwhelming support in the opposition primary, only to be banned from running in the official vote. The opposition then backed Edmundo Gonzalez and gathered extensive evidence showing that the replacement candidate had in fact won the election. Still, the Maduro government declared itself the winner, leading to widespread doubt at home and abroad. As the election dispute deepened, Machado went into hiding in August 2024 to avoid possible arrest. She was banned from leaving the country and closely monitored, becoming one of the most symbolic and most suppressed political dissidents in Venezuela. It was under these conditions that, on October 10, 2025, the Norwegian Nobel Committee announced that Machado would receive the Nobel Peace Prize. The decision quickly drew global attention. The committee praised her for keeping the flame of democracy alive under the growing shadow of authoritarianism, and stressed that her struggle was not only about Venezuela, but also about the challenges facing democracy worldwide. Soon after, controversy arose around one key decision she made. After years of heavy pressure and living in extreme danger, why would she take such a huge risk to personally leave Venezuela and travel to Norway to accept the prize? During this journey, she was even injured. Some critics began to ask whether this was driven by vanity. The prize was already confirmed, the honor was already hers. Was it really necessary to step into the spotlight? This question may sound reasonable, but it misses a critical fact. Before this moment, Machado had not chosen to leave Venezuela. On the contrary, while being watched and surrounded for years, she stayed in the country, living in a state of political invisibility. Under these conditions, her decision to leave was not safer, but far more dangerous for the authorities. The moment that most needed to be stopped was her appearance. on the international stage to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. That is why she left Venezuela through secret means, taking an extremely risky route. This was not a carefully staged trip, but a real gamble. The injury she suffered along the way made it clear that this was not a performance, but an action with real costs. Because of delays, she could not appear on stage on the day of the awards ceremony. Her daughter accepted the prize and read her speech on her behalf. Later, Machado still managed to reach Norway and speak publicly in Oslo. If this were only about personal honor, she could have chosen not to go. The Nobel Peace Prize had already recognized her years of effort, and whether she appeared in person would not change that fact. Precisely because of this, her insistence on going deserves deeper understanding. The meaning of her departure was not only about receiving an award, but about whether she could reach Norway at all. Even if the journey was imperfect and came at the cost of injury, the simple fact that she stood on Norwegian soil had already fulfilled its political meaning. It proved something through reality. The Venezuelan system, which appears tight and powerful, is not the solid, unbreakable wall many imagine it to be. In truth, it is a system full of cracks and long damaged from within. Much of its strength depends on fear and belief. Once someone shows, even under extreme conditions, that these defenses can be crossed, the myth of being unbreakable begins to fall apart. In this sense, Machado's departure went far beyond a personal choice. It became a declaration to the world and to the people inside Venezuela. What looks like overwhelming authoritarian power is not impossible to pass through, and what truly holds it together is the expectation of failure. This is the core value affirmed by the Nobel Peace Prize. Machado's story is not just the story of one person. It is a powerful example within today's global democratic movement. When someone dares to prove through action that fear is not the truth, cracks have already begun to appear in the authoritarian order.